Welcome. Poem 10 c.l.m. 10th Standard Question Answer Part 2. English First Language Part 2. Karnataka State Board Syllabus 2024-2025. Glossary. c.l.m. is Caroline L. Massafield, the poet's mother. My common earth means poet's body. The poet sees himself as common earth on which his mother's beauty was lavished abundantly. Death of some of her. Poet's mother died while giving birth to her sixth child, a girl, Nora. The poet feels that every child she bore brought about the partial death of her. Undone, opened. Keep in mind, remember. Mouthless body. The child's body was not mouthless in the womb, but its mouth was not being used. Wretched, miserable, leeched, used as a verb, sucked life out of her like a leech, consumed mother's life for its growth. Triumph over, defeat. Trample means ignore the rights of women and treat them as if they are not important. Row means roam about. Lust means a strong sexual desire. Strong desire for supremacy over women. Second main comprehension questions. A. Answer the following questions briefly. 1. The second line, my mother's life made me a man. Option A just states a natural phenomenon of a mother giving birth to a son. B has a hint that he was born at the cost of his mother's life. Answer is option B. The second line, my mother's life made me a man, most closely aligns with option B. It carries a poignant hint that his life came at the cost of his mother's sacrifices and ultimately her life. This goes beyond the natural phenomenon of childbirth, reflecting the deep emotional weight and acknowledgement of her suffering to give him life. The poet intricately ties his existence to her sacrifices, emphasizing the cost of motherhood. 2. The phrase her beauty in line 4 refers to A. The physical beauty of his mother, B. The beauty of his mother's physical and emotional trauma at the birth of the child. The phrase her beauty in line 4 most closely refers to B. The beauty of his mother's physical and emotional sacrifices, particularly in giving birth to her children. The poet uses the term beauty metaphorically to acknowledge the profound and selfless acts of motherhood, including the pain and trauma endured for the sake of her children. This interpretation adds depth to the poet's gratitude and reverence for his mother's sacrifices. Question number 3. Why does the poet use present tense in line 5 and 6? Option A to emphasize that his very existence now is made possible by the death of some of her. Option B to emphasize that every moment of his in his mother's womb destroyed a part of her life. Option C to show that his very birth and the life were responsible for his mother's partial death. The poet uses the present tense in line 5 and 6 for option A to emphasize that his very existence now is made possible by the death of some of her. The present tense highlights the ongoing connection between his life and his mother's sacrifices, making her contribution feel immediate and ever present rather than something confined to the past. It underscores the weight of gratitude and responsibility he feels even in present moment. 4. What does it in line 10 refer to? In line 10 of the poem c.l.m., the word it refers to the immense love and sacrifices of the poet's mother. It encapsulates everything she endured and gave selflessly for her child, highlighting the poet's deep reflection on her devotion and the emotional weight of his acknowledgement. Question number 5. Her beauty in the line 12 refers to A. His mother's physical beauty, B. Her son, the poet. The correct answer is option A. His mother's physical beauty. In line 12, her beauty symbolizes the physical grace and essence of his mother, which, with the time and the burden of sacrifices, may become a distant, faded memory in the poet's mind. This line expresses the sorrow of how even cherished memories can grow dim with the passage of time. The dusty in the mind, in line 12 referred to A. The fading memory of his mother in his mind. B. The state of his dead mother's mind, which has forgotten the dear ones left behind. The correct answer is A. The fading memory of his mother in his mind. The phrase dusty in the mind symbolizes how, over time, the poet's vivid memories of his mother and her sacrifices may begin to fade or become less clear, reflecting the sorrow of losing connection to cherished recollections. It does not refer to the state of mother's mind after death. Question number 7. I am so grown in line 15 means option A, that he has grown so much physically that she would not be able to recognize him. B, that he has grown so unworthy of all her sacrifice that she would not be able to recognize him. C, both A and B. The correct answer is C, both A and B. The phrase I am so grown conveys that the poet has physically matured to the point that his mother might not recognize him if they met. Additionally, it suggests that a sense of guilt or unworthiness as he feels that he may have failed to live up to her sacrifices, making it harder for her to see the person she once nurtured in him. This dual meaning adds depth to the poet's reflection on his relationship with his mother. 8. Which line in stanza 3 suggests that the poet is totally unworthy or ungrateful? The line in stanza 3 that suggests the poet feels totally unworthy or ungrateful is, O grave, keep shut lest I be shamed. This line conveys the poet's deep guilt and shame. He feels he has not lived up to the sacrifices his mother made for him, and he pleads for the grave to remain closed, as he feels undeserving of confronting her memory. It reflects his profound sense of unworthiness and regret. 9. Which phrase in the stanza 4 suggests that his concern goes beyond his personal experience? The phrase in stanza 4 that suggests the poet's concern goes beyond his personal experience is men triumph over women till men trample women's rights at will. This indicates that the poet is reflecting not only on his own guilt and unworthiness but also on the broader societal injustice and expression faced by women. His concern extends to the collective experience of women and their suffering caused by systematic inequalities. 10. Providing a happier life to one's mother will repay for all her sacrifice. Is this what the poet says in line 21 and 22? No, this is not what the poet conveys in line 21 and 22. Instead, he questions whether any happier life provides a woman can truly compensate for the physical and the emotional pain endured during the wretched days of the childbirth and the motherhood. The lines emphasize the depth and irreparable nature of the mother's sacrifices, suggesting that no repayment, however generous, can fully equal the suffering and love invested in giving life to her child. It's a reflection on the profound and selfless role of motherhood. 11. Stanza 4 has some very powerful and forceful images. A. What is compared to a leech? The child in the womb is compared to a leech. B. How is it a leech? It is a leech because it draws life and sustenance from the mother's body, just as a leech feeds on its host's blood. The comparison emphasizes the physical toll and sacrifices a mother endures during pregnancy. See, what is unusual about the use of the word leached? The word leached is unusual because it is not commonly used as a verb in this context. Its use here is striking and vivid, reinforcing the imagery of the child extracting life from the mother much like a leech drains its host. D. Why is B in birth capitalized? In line 24, the capitalization of the word gives the word prominence and weight, signifying its immense importance and the profound impact it has on both the mother and the child. It elevates the act of birth as a monumental event laden with meaning and sacrifice. E. For whom is birth a hell? 1. For the mother, for all her pain and suffering during the birth of her child. Second, for the son, who feels that it was because of his birth that his mother died through partially. Option 3, for both. Answer is for both. Birth is hell for both, as it involves physical and emotional pain for the mother and the deep sense of guilt and reflection for the son. 12. Note that lines 19 to 26 introduce a series of rhetorical questions. The rhetorical question is asked for effect rather than to obtain an answer. The answer is very much implied in the question itself. Line 19 to 20 are a good example of rhetorical question. The meaning of the two lines is I have done nothing worth remembering to show my debt to my mother and womankind. Option A, identify two more examples of rhetorical questions. 1. What women's happier life repays her for those months of wretched days? Second one, what have I done or tried or said in thanks to that dear woman dead? B. Write down the actual meaning of each of them. The actual meaning of each is first one is what woman's happier life repays her for those months of wretched days. This question implies that no amount of happiness or ease provided to a woman later in life can truly compensate for the pain, suffering, and sacrifices she endured during pregnancy and childbirth. It highlights the irreplaceable nature of mother's sacrifices. 2. What have I done or tried or said in thanks to that dear woman dead? It reflects the poet's guilt and regret for failing to adequately honor and show gratitude to his mother for her sacrifices even after her death. It underscores his deep sense of unworthiness and responsibility. These rhetorical questions emphasizes the poet's profound reflection on his mother's sacrifices and his feelings of guilt and inadequacy in repaying her. Let me know if you would like to explore more aspects of the poem. 13. Man's lust in line 29 refers to A. Man's beastly sexuality. B. Man's lust for power over women. C. Both A and B. The correct answer is C. Both A and B. Man's lust in line 29 refers to both the uncontrolled and primal aspect of man's sexuality and the broader desire for dominance the, and power over women. The phrase captures the poet's critique of the unchecked and exploitative tendencies of men, reflecting societal injustices and the sufferings endured by women as a result. 14. The poet has used many poetical devices in the last line in order to draw the reader's attention to it. A. What typographical deviation is used in last line? The typographical deviation in the last line is the use of capitalization of the word O at the beginning of the line, which stands out prominently. B. Why do you think has he used his deviation? The poet likely uses this deviation to emphasize the emotional intensity and dramatic feel of the plea in final line. It draws attention to the poet's sense of guilt and shame, amplifying the weight of the moment. C. What figure of speech is used in this line? The figure of speech used in the last line is apostrophe. Apostrophe. The poet directly addresses the grave as if it were capable of listening and responding, making plea personal and vivid. This heightens the emotional impact of his regret and shame. D. Why does the poet want the grave to keep shut? The poet wants the grave to remain shut because he feels deeply ashamed of his unworthiness and inability to repay his mother's sacrifices. He fears confronting her memory and legacy as it would only magnify his guilt. E. How does the line end? The line ends on poignant and somber note, with the word shamed reflecting the poet's overwhelming guilt and remorse. This conclusion leaves a lasting impression of the poet's emotional turmoil and self reproach. 15. The most dominant feeling of the poet in this poem is A. A feeling of guilt, B. A sense of ingratitude, C. A sense of shame. The correct answer is A. A feeling of guilt. Throughout the poem, the poet's dominant emotion is guilt. He feels deeply remorseful for not adequately recognizing or repaying his mother's immense sacrifices. While there are elements of shame and sense of ingratitude present, or the overarching tone and repeated reflections convey his profound and persistent guilt over his pursued failures to honor her legacy and sacrifices. 16. Look at the rhyme scheme of the first stanza. The word began rhymes with man. The rhyme scheme is AA. Birth in line 3 rhymes with earth in line 4. Birth, earth. The rhyme scheme is BB. Stir in line 5 rhymes with the her in line 6. Stir, her. The rhyme scheme is CC. So the rhyme scheme of the first stanza is AA, BB, CC. 6 lines. So now work out the rhyme scheme of the remaining four stanzas. Start with a line 7 and 8 as DD, like this. This summary of the rhyme scheme of the whole poem is from the stanza 1, it is AA, BB, CC, 6 lines are there. Stanza 2, DD, EEFF. Stanza 3, GGHH. Stanza 4, IIJJKK. Stanza 5, LL, NN. B. Close study. Read the following extracts carefully, discuss in pairs, and then answer the questions given below them. 1. For all her love, she cannot tell whether I use it ill or well. A. Who do I and she refer to? I refers to the poet John Masefield and she refers to his mother. B. What does it in the second line refer to? It refers to the love and sacrifices of the poet's mother, which she gave selflessly during her life. See, why is it that she cannot tell? She cannot tell because she has passed away and therefore she cannot see or judge whether the poet has lived his life in a way that honors her love and sacrifices. This highlights the poet's sense of guilt and his reflection on whether he has been worthy of her devotion. 2. Dash if we should meet, she would pass by me in the street, unless my soul's face let her see my sense of what she did for me. A. Would it be possible for the mother and the son to meet each other? No, it would not be possible for the mother and the son to meet each other as the mother has passed away. The meeting referred to in the poem is metaphorical, imagining what it might be like if they could encounter each other again. B. What is the figure of speech used in expression Saul's face? The figure of speech used in Saul's face is metaphor. It represents the inner emotions, gratitude, and acknowledgement that the poet feels within his soul, which could metaphorically manifest as a face to express these emotions. C. His soul would reveal. Option 1. His sense of gratitude to his mother. 2. His sense of ingratitude to his mother. His soul would reveal option 1, his sense of gratitude to his mother. The poet believes that although his physical appearance may have changed to the point where his mother wouldn't recognize him, his soul carrying the weight of gratitude and recognition of her sacrifices would make her realize his acknowledgement of what she did for him. Third paragraph writing. Discuss in pairs, groups of four each, the answer to the following questions. Note down the important points for each question and then develop the points into one paragraph answers. 1. The poem describes the poet's personal experience. Does it stop at that? Poem c.l.m. by John Masefield begins as a deeply personal reflection on the poet's relationship with his late mother, expressing his guilt and regret for not adequately acknowledging her sacrifices. However, the poem extends beyond the poet's personal experience to address broader societal issues. It critiques a systematic oppression and exploitation of women, highlighting how men dominate and trample upon women's rights through rhetorical questions and vivid imagery. Masefield universalizes his personal guilt, linking it to the collective suffering and sacrifices of womankind. Thus, the poem transcends individual experience to make a powerful statement about gender inequality and the enduring contributions of mothers and women at large. Question number two. Do you like the poem? Why? The poem c.l.m. is undoubtedly a powerful and a thought provoking work. Its rich emotional depth and profound reflections on motherhood, sacrifice, and societal inequality make it resonate deeply. The poet masterfully transitions from a personal expression of guilt and gratitude towards his mother to broader societal concerns about the oppression of women. The use of vivid imagery, rhetorical questions, and metaphors enhances the emotional intensity and universal appeal of the poem. It evokes empathy and introspection, making readers reflect on their own relationships and responsibilities. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and save the playlist. Thank you very much. Bye bye.